guys. I am going to use this deck called the Angelarium Oracle, and it's by BLUESKY. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but it's a brand that a lot of readers are familiar with. This is what the pamphlet from the cards look like, and this is the box top. In case you like them. You may not, but I just had an intuitive draw to try these out in the case of uh, Nancy Guthrie, and just wanting to ask if she's in Mexico because it's very close by, or if she's still kind of within orbit of her community in Tucson. All right. And I might ask some more questions as I go along. We'll see. All right, let's go. So I'm using again the Angelarium Oracle of Emanations. With, sometimes when you use a deck, you think, I want to try this stuff out. Sometimes it doesn't mesh with what the reading is that you're trying to, you just get nothing from it. So sometimes, and then other times, you really get something. So it's always worth the chance to try another oracle and get a consensus or not, get a different input and see if you get any kind of a similar pattern. So I'm asking Nancy and to see if I can get anything on her being possibly in Mexico or whatever it is we need to know about Nancy's location. Any vibes, what these cards might possibly be able to impart, if anything. Let's just see if it'll work. And if not, then I'll go back to my handy dandy Rider-Waite. I will have to look at the booklet on this because I haven't used these in years, but they do have keywords. So I can look at the keywords and see if there's anything that I feel like pulled, like I feel means maybe something. All right, let me see what we get. Angel of Rain, Material is who I'm being shown. All right. And I always typically draw in pairs. All right. And Angel of Time. I guess this would be Rim Myth. All right, let's see what they have to say about that. This is very interesting. Material, the Angel of Rain, and then the Angel of Time, Remeth. And I'll read to you very quickly the material of Angel of Rain. Material's touch is felt, seen, and heard. Its presence is heavy, filling the air, saturating the ground. Heralded by thunder clapping through the sky and signaling, and this is what pops out to me, change and shift. So I'm asking is if she's been taken across the border, and this is the cards are talking about she's been taken away. There is a change and a shift, and it says there is a great migration coming and it arcs like lightning. The potentiality from one body is moving to another. So definitely has been moved. And it says precarious transference. I think that in their transfer of her from wherever, from her home to wherever they've taken her, definitely wasn't easy. um, a precarious, a swift communion, like the arrow taking its target. It just feels like, again, maybe this is a nod to her being targeted. And I think at the very least, if you've seen some of the other videos that have just recently come out, they have a lot of people wandering around this wealthy area or homes nearby at night fiddling around with things. Um, and, if nothing else, to the eye of an observer that's looking to get into someone's house to do whatever it is, you know, for whatever reason, um, be it to take someone or to just rob, uh, things go south really quickly when you enter someone's home. Even on the burglary, people that commit burglary of any kind usually go on to commit more violating uh, personal crimes against others. But anyway, so I feel like it's talking definitely here that there's a heaviness as well. I don't know if that's even to say possibly that it's raining where she's at. Um, but perhaps more to speak of the heaviness. It's not arid as the area she's at, maybe, or lives in, there in Arizona. Um, Yet I don't feel like she's been taken particularly far. Um, I have my doubts to some degree about her being taken over the border, but you just never know. Wherever it is that this person feels like they have more control, or these people, um, over the situation, wherever they are and wherever she is, but definitely moved. Something, and there's a heaviness here about where she's at. Awareness is paramount for the journey. Don't try to create an outcome for your future. This is just be in the moment. Let the rain fall where it may. And it could even be indicative of, because this card comes connected to an angel of time, having to let kind of things fall into place for her to be led to, for them to be led to where she is, or to know where she is. And that's also with the angel of time, this Remeth energy. And I'll just kind of go through the quick writing that it has for that. Eternally vigilant and forever burning. To me, this is people are being vigilant and are out looking. Um, it is movement through space measured with depth precision, the angel of time. Our footsteps upon the earth mark its passing, for we are all bound to time. One by one we tick-tock, and every life is counted, even those lives, even as those lives pass. I think that's a hint also that she may not be with us, okay? And sadly enough, I tend to think probably not. Um, and I say that with great heart for the family, but I'm just being honest. I don't think so, and I have a right to my opinion. Um, we are all sand and seconds and moments, all fleeting. Fire burns until it doesn't. Lives are lived until they aren't. Dreams are dreamt until we wake. And Rimph, or Rumeth, stands by all of this, counting. So it is about time and units of time and measuring. What better unit of measure than the souls that pass through the tree of life into Angelarium? So I'm feeling a great sense of transition, actually, with both cards, a shift, a precarious movement. Maybe there was, once again, going back to a feeling that there was some kind of recklessness with her by those that she came into contact with. And um, a feeling that it was a very difficult, heavy energy going on. And as one would expect, but that there was a shift and a change. I don't know that it's necessarily in Mexico, but this could be a definite yes. This could be a yes, and in all honesty, it's quite possible. Um, but wherever she is, we're letting it's letting us know also about the energy of uh, the passing of time and the passing of one form into another, with actually the card of rain, where it speaks of the the change there. Where was that? There was a certain phrase that really struck me. Ah, yeah. Well, there's, as it said, there's the power of thunder, that's signaling, and lightning signaling change and shift. So there's strong, powerful signals of changing and shifting. That's definitely moving, and quickly, at that, and a bit precariously. Here it was, the potentiality from one body is moving toward another, a precarious transference. Even though it's talking about the lightning and all of that, I also feel like there's a deeper clue, also a little message. At least that's how I read, that there's something, some great transformation going from one form into another, and very quickly. And there's a bit of, it's not smooth, that there's indicative with the precarious description. So my gut feeling and intuitive feeling is it's talking about that someone has passed, and that it's a matter of time until we understand and know that, or she is found, or we discover where she is. And there's certain things I feel like that are falling into place, leading, that will lead us, and will lead those looking for her to her. All right, because we have this vigilance in the description of time and forever burning. Okay. And I think, even just the phrases of TikTok, every life is counted, even as they pass, that she's going to be found, but she may not be found in the way that we prefer. Okay. So Rimph walks between the pillars of the past, present, turning every corner and every second. Uh, you could say time's movements can be seen in our own as a fulcrum between moments. So again, there's a kind of a nebulous feeling here of that we're getting closer. Um, she might be there. Um, Definitely has been moved and moved quickly with a great deal of haste. I get Angel of Snow next, and the right hand, empathy. Hmm. Let me just look at those two very quickly. Well, these two cards speak about empathy with Chesied, and the right hand. That's just part of how they've divided this. You have to look more into the oracle, but and then the Sheligiel, Angel of Snow, is very interesting. It speaks of bravery, the bravery of happiness in the face of sadness. And that is finding the blessings in a very bleak situation, basically. Um, it brings relief to those that have been overburdened and gives them room to recover. And so then we got that paired with empathy, the Chesied card. And where was that? It's way up here, I think. There's something I want. Yeah, here it is. That it's each kindness repaid in kind, and it's a very healing tears brought on by forgiveness of sins. Um, it pulls humanity together and allowing peace to exist between us. This is the power to look inside the hearts of those around us and see we are truly alike. Our need for love and kindness is essential to our existence and transcends all other differences we might have. The blue orb's embrace extends across all existence. Very center pillar of mercy, defining its core characteristic and forming of an extreme, let's see, opposite to its female counterpart, Govera. The two arms of the tree extend in opposite directions. That's a tree of life. Chesed pulls so tight that the other cannot pull away. This wrestling match cannot be won by either side, yet the struggle itself is meaningful because it is the struggle that defines our morality. And this is found in kindness, charity, and love. I think that there's a community that will be shown as pulling together for this, to resolve this, and not just her immediate community, but this is talking about the greater community. I think it's possible she could be there, um, if it's really close by, relatively, but I really don't think that she's far, terribly, terribly far. Like I've said before from the other reading, it looked a lot like it's a someplace that's relatively nearby. We get the angel of memory and the angel of mercy. So I almost feel like she's talking about forgiveness, and maybe Nancy's forgiving whoever did this, because there's a strong vibe of that too. And she was a woman that was very spiritual. But I do feel it's indicative of we will get answers despite the sheriff and all of that. Let me see. He is, well, I'm just going to say I think he is part of the problem. from it's an intuitive feeling. I got it first when I was trying to listen to him. I couldn't. It was weird. And then, hearing about some of the issues, I think there's some problems there. Let's just look really quickly with these cards, the Rider Waite deck, and ask if she's in Mexico by chance. Has she been taken to Mexico? Is Nancy Guthrie in Mexico, close by? Tucson. Has Nancy been taken across the border to some area? I get the Ace of Cups. I think that could be a yes. Because usually when you get an ace, it's supposed to be a yes. And I get the Knight of Pentacles. And I'm feeling this is rural. This is not a city. So out in more of an open country. Not, again, there's not, I don't get a sense of a built up area like a city or something. Let's see what else. I'll ask again because I like consensus. And if I see that there's different outcome, I can think, well, maybe that's not a yes. So putting it on the shelf. Let's take a look. Is Nancy Guthrie in Mexico? Has she been taken across the border? Yes or no? Hmm. I get the Four of Cups. This is could be a maybe. It's kind of an iffy card. Um, as you can see, there's not a great deal of excitement in this card. Someone's focused on the three and not satisfied with it. And they're not even seeing this other cup here. She could be being held there. But this card makes me feel like there's also the possibility that if she is there, maybe they're not real certain about keeping her in that location, or they're not paying attention. They're focused on other things that they're not realizing something here. Maybe that they're going to be found. Hmm. All right, let's see it again. Is Nancy is her location across the border in Mexico somewhere? Knight of Swords. I'd say that 2 out of 3 cards would say yes. And there's that quick moving card again, which matches the other cards from the Oracle, which spoke of like lightning quick, very fast movement. And we have outside with the Five of Pentacles. This could also be indicative of a poorer location where people don't have as uh, income, you know. The other card I think felt like outside the rural area. I think she could be. I get Judgment and the Nine of Wands. This is bringing someone to account that's very highly resistant to it, not giving up, and that person also doing all that they can, and they're on their last stand in this card. This person's on their last. They're getting weary. They're getting battle weary. But I think it means also we're all getting weary too. I get the Devil and the Two of Pentacles going back and forth, maybe between a couple areas. Again, I feel like they could move her, or at least once, between two areas. So, and being captive. These people, I think, probably have also, I'd say, I keep getting this substance issues of some kind. I would doubt that this would be anybody that's completely sober. Um, and they're definitely abusing power. It's easy for them to cross the line and do something that's beyond the pale. That's one of my worries too when we're shown the Devil. It's someone that's a pushover for corruption. So I think in all probability she's there, maybe over just over the border in some fashion, or there may be a connection there. Um, it could be a place if they didn't take her there, one of two places with that back and forthing of the up and down of the pentacles. I feel like they've moved her around a bit. At least, as I said, I keep getting cards of movement, so definitely don't think she's right in her own backyard. I feel like she's further out from her neighborhood, even maybe, further out. And possibly the cards went to point to Mexico. So there's maybe just to put it on the shelf that there might be something there to that. Let me just see if she's going to be found soon. If this mystery and um this awful time for the family is going to be over, at least enough to where they know where their mother is and what happened. Answers. Are we going to have answers and Nancy back in the relatively near future? Is that ahead of us? Will we end up knowing what happened and where she is in the relatively near future? Will the case break? We have the King of Pentacles and the Magician. Well, this shows a male figure here that is manipulating, using the tools of of everything he knows and at hand to get what he wants, to manifest what he wants. And we have a Queen of Cups, and there's darkness around her. This could be hiding Nancy. There's she's veiled, so to speak, her location. But again, when I look at the moon card, I feel like it's not in a built up area. I feel like it's being taken away from that, further out, hiding her somewhere. We get the Ten of Pentacles and the Ten of Swords. I think that we will. The King of Pentacles and the Magician could also maybe be someone that organizes a search or that just does it themselves and could come across. I think this also indicates the money, the family, and release of some. So yeah, I think we are going to get some kind of information here. I get there's a shift. We get the Wheel of Fortune, so things are going to change for the authorities. And I kind of lean more toward the FBI on this. But regardless, law enforcement gets, I think, that break with the Wheel of Fortune, quite possibly. It gets some traction. And we get the Devil and the Ten of Wands. This is such corruption. Well, I think we have, people calling in, and I think some of these requests are not valid. I think some of them, like the guy that they had to go and arrest, just wanted to see if basically wanted to FA and they got FO. Tremendous amount of pressure. I think to find this person holding her and the situation. I think someone's going to make it, they're not going to make it easy. And clearly they haven't. But I think that this is a shift where law enforcement's perhaps able to put them under pressure and bring about a change. Here's that Knight of Pentacles and the Eight of Cups, that rural sense that I was getting. It's also a slow and steady progress. And then there's the card of that, but focus also. And there's the card of walking away, abandoned. So I can't help but feel that she might be found abandoned, if you know what I mean, in a more rural, if you will, not a, let's just say, not a built-up area, not a place with, I think, more open agricultural, even possible kind of area, of like a small farms or something like that. Or just out in the countryside, so to speak, not in an area that's built up. And that could be desert, even if it's, of course, across the border. Open land. Something's been left behind. Vigilance, watching, taking action. Yes, this will eventually get worked out, but it's going to be more up and down, more drama that has to be patiently worked out. And that means, as annoying as all of this is, it's going to require time. It's not going to be solved necessarily too quickly. There's certain things that are falling into place, and I think, though, that there will be a shift, and once they're able to apply some kind of a bit of a pressure onto the person that's guilty, you know, to get them to make a mistake. I think they'll catch up to them. I do. I'm getting this King of Cups and this Knight of Cups energy where someone is was coming forward with something, an offer again, wanting to keep control. Approaching the house, some kind of an approach. I don't know. Was this someone that had approached her at one point in time to get work, or seeking work, or offering to do work? Quite possible. Hmm. I get the Ace of Cups and the Page of Cups. Makes me feel, with all this cups and the King of Cups and the Knight of Cups, it really makes me feel like someone that is not very mature in control of their emotions, and possible, once again, use of substance or of habitual habits that are not good. They're involved in unhealthy uh, adaptions, maladaptive stuff. I'm getting two people here, I think, that are responsible again, more than one. Maybe for initially, taking her and moving her around with that Seven of Swords and the Two of Cups. So I do think they will eventually find out who this is. And eh, I feel that there was a bit of violence in taking her that shows up. We've got the Empress and the Knight of Wands, which in and of itself isn't so awful. But then we get this Five of Wands and the Seven of Pentacles, part of an effort, part of a plan. That's an assault, an attack to confront uh, that occurs. And I feel like that energy gets directed toward her through the knight's actions. Could be a bully type. The Ace of Swords, there's going to be clarity that eventually comes, and the Chariot, where the information is moving forward and successfully. Yeah, Judgment and the Nine of Pentacles. I think the motivating factor is seeing that this is a way to try to get at someone that is of the upper class, or who has independently, that is not in need. I still think that no matter what this was, something happened It could have been someone going in with the intention of taking something or getting something of material wealth, and then stuff goes sideways, and they, for whatever reason, they take her and they get out of there and they don't steal anything. Um, Maybe what it is that they wanted from her, they needed to get from her, and she wasn't able to tell them, and they just wanted, for some reason, this was their reaction to cover it up. Or it could be still just a whole different crime. But the point of it is, I did get another reading that I feel like something unexpected happened. Something made it not go to plan. And that's maybe why this doesn't make sense, because what they intended to do, they weren't able to do. Whatever that was. Let me just take the cards and look at what was the motivation of those responsible for Nancy's disappearance. What was the motivating factor for those responsible for her disappearance? What was the motive? Why was this done? Why did they seek to go into her home with all the masks and whatnot? What was this about? What was the purpose? Okay, I get the Three of Cups and the King of Cups. It could be looking to get money for him and a couple of friends to have fun, so to speak, to party it up, even, quite possibly with that. We have the Four of Swords. This is retreat, pulling back, and the Lovers. So, a decision, quite possibly also, partnership that retreats. A choice, maybe, also by them to retreat. I also feel like with that four, they're counting on maybe the person being asleep, that Four of Swords. There's the Two of Cups and a Queen of Pentacles. I don't know. Did they target her for something untowards? Um, or is this just a message of, again, we're looking at a couple? There could be a man and a woman component in this. Hmm. There's the card of the Nine of Swords and the Page of Swords. Great deal of anxiety. Something that was worried about. And there's a hyper anxiety about it. And watching things, observation. We have death and the devil. I just also think like something went too far with death and the devil. Endings brought on through because of greed, because of the love of power and control over other people, being willing to do something that isn't good in order to get money, to get, you know, if nothing else, if this is your thing, to attack people and, you know, on a more just that's your target. There's that. It's a darkness. It's letting your shadows uh, bring endings. Anxiety. I feel like someone's bad habits are going to get them caught. This is just part of it. And it could be a couple. It could be a couple that um, are allied in this somehow. Justice and the Ten of Pentacles. This could be the law, and we've got the family, but we've also got a lot of money. And could also be genetics and the law using genetics to trace someone. Let's just see. Queen of Cups and an Emperor and Knight of Cups. And the Eight of Swords. Hmm. I think that they might get lucky and find someone through genealogy and ask a family member, for to test out their DNA and see if it looks like. Well, no, they wouldn't have to do that, would they? Hmm. It just could be that they're able to trace it through maybe a woman, maybe a sister and aunt. Um, and I'm really hoping that this Emperor and the Eight of Swords is that they bring someone in. There's help given. The authorities, I think, are going to get help to confront whoever this is. And I don't think that whoever this is going to roll over real easily. This is difficult. There could be some difficulty in obtaining. Maybe it's something from the family to help find him. There's a struggle. I think they're going to probably be able to do that through genealogy. I do. Looks like authorities are going to get help on this from other people. And there is a Queen of Wands and the High Priestess. Could be a female that knows something, or that something hidden is, and that there's something about this around her, or a female that has a secret. I think they will be looking for this this person though. And talking to family, and once they find out who it is. King of Swords in the world, something is going to be brought to a conclusion. I feel like that's law enforcement probably bringing things to a conclusion. I think they will get help, some help from other people and tracking this person down. But I think it's still ahead of us. I do. But I think it will eventually, these things will fall into place. Yeah. And it's a very sad situation. We have the moon and the three of swords taking someone, the heartbreak this causes, the grief and the uncertainty and fear. Um, again, I'm getting that number three again. And I'm getting the magician. I feel that this is a small number of people working together to try that to to cover this up at the very least. If this was something somebody initiated on their own, they've probably gotten couple of the other people to help them. Yeah, there's attempts to cover up, attempts to um, conceal. But I think that they're going to get specialists, the FBI are going to be analyzing things and uncovering what they've tried to conceal. This is Nancy, and I'm getting the Five of Pentacles. So I get decline of health once again, and possibly again looking at outdoors, not an indoor place. The Sun and the Page of Cups. Well, it's possibly that she would be found. Once again, there's exposure, brightness, lightness. And I would say I'm being shown that she's given them a struggle. There's like fighting back without defending oneself with the Seven of Wands and the Five of Swords. There's like a bully. Someone's just goes over the top. So I think it's going to eventually be just, you know, completed, answers gotten. But this delay becomes really unbearable. I mean, it's like, yeah, tell us something we don't know. So I do think she's going to be eventually found, but I don't know how soon that's going to be, honestly. Well, let's just see. Will they know where Nancy Guthrie is and have the people responsible? Will they have those answers? And the person responsible in the next, let's be generous and say a month for right now. And a month from now, where will Nancy Guthrie's case be? Will they have gotten answers, found her, and the person responsible in a month? Yes or no? Well, I get the Two of Wands and the Queen of Swords. That to me is Nancy. And the Two of Wands is an expanding card, it's an opportunity card. It may not take all that long, but maybe a little bit long. Because I feel like we're being shown that she's on our periphery. She's on our timeline here of being found. A page of cups and judgment. Yeah, that would be new understanding, bigger picture. And there is the Five of Cups and the Hermit. There is a sense of grief. I think there's answers, there's wisdom. And there's the Two of Cups and the Star. So it makes me feel in the Tower and the Six of Cups. Somebody's past and a highlight on childhood, children, child. And I'm getting that a couple, I feel like, is in the limelight, in the starlight. They're big news. But there's something here that maybe their innocence takes a slip because that card of the Six of Cups is also like innocence, what you see is what you get, and a kindly kind of a disposition. There's the High Priestess and the Magician. Definitely attempt to hide and manipulate various ways. And the Five of Wands and the Five of Pentacles again. Feeling ostracized out of somebody that's not part of regular society, is a misfit. Maybe a couple that's a misfit, that are misfits. Arguing about money, arguing. And also possibly causing assault and leaving someone outside with the Five of Wands and the Five of Pentacles on the very basic. And again, the Knight of Pentacles and Strength. Is it a rural, kind of more open, unbuilt up area? Um, and it's not clear to me. There's a need for self-regulation. There's extreme here, person of extremes. But this will get, I think, eventually brought to light. It's a matter of great patience. So I think we are likely to know what the story was. Oh my goodness, I didn't mean for this to go on this long. Anyway, let this be a kind of a deep dive uh, on Nancy for today. All right, I will be looking at Pam Bondi here very soon. If you appreciate readings like this, please give me a thumbs up and keep your prayers up. It works, it helps for this to be resolved soon and for authorities to get the break that they need. I hope and I pray that they do. Okay, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Oh, um, It already is the weekend. Past. Have a great week.